we're going to start tonight with special teams, and they make the difference, and the little things you do make a huge difference in special teams. The first slide is our team is a family, and we always use that slogan every single time we talk about Oak Ridge football, and our theme for the year this year was uncommon, and that's me on there. That's our championship trophy we won in 2008 at Ford Field, and just wanted to show you that nice picture, which I love so much here. We're at Oak Ridge High School in Michigan, which is on the west side of Michigan, right next to the Lake Michigan. We're a blue-collar school, about 530 students. Now we're down to about 510 this year, grades 9 through 12. We're a blue-collar community and Division 5 in the Michigan playoffs. In Michigan, we have 8 divisions of playoffs, under 620 schools in Michigan, and 256 schools make the playoffs. There's a picture of us in 2005 winning the state championship trophy at Ford Field also. A little history of our school and about me a little bit. 1965 and 1978, our school was not very good in football with 43 wins, 77 losses, 3 ties, and 3 coaches in 14 years. And I was privileged to take over in 1979, and I've been very fortunate to win a few games. We won 253 and lost 75. So we're about a 777 winning percentage, and gives me some credibility. Hopefully I'm getting older in my years. This is my 32nd season coaching as a head coach. We've won 18 West Michigan Conference championships, 19 years in the Michigan High School Athletic Association playoffs. And I started at the very bottom. In 1969, I started in the Youth Football League in our community. Became a junior high coach for 3 years in the 70s. 73 through 75, I was head JV coach. And 76 through 78, I was an assistant. So I've been down the ranks. I've started at the bottom and worked my way up. So any coach tonight listening, I've been there and I know where you're at, and we're all great coaches as far as where we're at in our position. So you never degrade yourself where you started and where you're at right now, because we're all going to do the right thing for football and kids today. I'm lucky enough to have my championship coaching staff, and the guys who are on my staff, all the guys on the screen here, of these players on the screen, there's 5 players there. 4 of them played for me. And Tim Parker, he's our defensive coordinator. He's a former player for 14 years, been on our staff. Kerry Hager, defensive line coach, strength coach, 15 years. He was a former player, and he played at Hope College. Mark Jalvik, he's the only one that did not play for me. Offensive coordinator, works with the defensive backs. He was a former Muskegon Big Red coach, offensive coordinator. He's our webmaster. Jim Smith is our scout team coach, 9 years with me, and he played at Hope College also. And David Randall, our receivers and secondary coach. Last year was his first year, and he played for me also, and he played at Grand Valley State University. So I'm fortunate to have players who played for me. Scott Chase, our director of game day personnel, game day operations. He was a JV assistant in 2008. He played for me. Rick Shaver's our video man. Mark Hollenbeck's our computer man. JV coaches. I'm fortunate again to have 2 of them that played for me, and we're adding another one that played for me this year. Our junior high staff, Russ Woodwhite, Roger Daly, 2 of my former players on that staff. And then we have a great medical staff, Dr. K, Herman Gonzalez, and Mike Bray with Shoreline Sport and Spine. So that's where we're coming from. And I think if you're in a football program, I think you should have a mission statement. I just wanted to show you ours before we started in the X's and O's and the special teams. But we've put this mission statement in, and I think it's really good. If you don't have one, please get a chance to call me or email me, and I'll be glad to send you ours. You can take a look at it a little further. Our mission is to take the high school student where he cannot take himself. We will foster an environment that teaches young men to relentlessly pursue and win the West Michigan Conference Championship. Now, we have a pretty good conference. In 2008, we had 2 schools in our conference win the state championship. In West Michigan, we had 4 schools out of 8 schools in the champions games from the West Michigan area. So we have a pretty good football here. Our second mission statement part is relentlessly pursue the Michigan High School Athletic Association playoffs and win at every level. And my 31 years, we've been in there 19 times, and it's great to be in the playoffs and be one of the 256 teams. And in Michigan, if you win 6 out of your 9-game schedule, you can make the playoffs. Third thing, we want to achieve an exemplary foundation of leadership and academic success. You know, students are in school first for their academics, as we all know that. Fourth, to achieve a foundation to become a successful individual throughout life, and that's key for young people today. And our program is based on the values of family, successful attitudes, and team chemistry. And that's our mission statement, and if you want further, you can contact me later on for more information. Special team, we're getting into the X's and O's now. Our philosophy, we have a philosophy on special teams, and something that we really think highly of, and it's because nothing changes the momentum of a football game more than a great special teams play. That is a huge momentum changer. And we feel that special teams, we put an emphasis on it, and we need special personnel to be emphasized, to be specialized. And these kids are your punters, your snappers, your holders, and the kids who cover. And all kids have these special kids who really want to do the job. And also, we want to take advantage of teams who do not use their best athletes for special teams. We try to put some good kids on the field, try to get some of our top 11 kids, not exactly all of them, but a lot of them on the field, so we don't have a breakdown in our special teams. We like to change schemes each week and look for weaknesses in our opponent by checking the video and see where there's a breakdown, and later on I'll show you some clips where you can see some breakdowns, and we take advantage of it in the presentation tonight. We emphasize the importance of players who want to be on those teams. You know, some kids don't want to play special teams, but we want kids who want to be a part of that team. You know, we have a catchphrase for different teams, special teams, like some, you know, you've heard of kamikazes and bandits and all kinds of special names just for that group of kids, and they kind of identify with that special team name. As a coach, one of the things I really firmly believe in is you get what you emphasize, and we do emphasize special teams. And so in 2002, one of my coaches and myself, we went to the Air Force Academy to study their special teams. Why do we pick Air Force? Because at that time they were tops in the nation in special teams play. So we went out there, and they were very, very hospitable and showed us their special teams things in video, and we really picked up a lot of things, and some of the things you'll see tonight. We make practice plan changes, so we emphasize it so we can make sure that it's part of our practice weekly and daily. Specialized personnel, which you've already said. Coaching is specialization within special teams, so you have a coach maybe who's coaching the blocking backs, one who coaches the snappers, the holders, and the kickers, and specialized coaching for coaches too. Special teams players, I had a player one time who put down on his goal sheet at the beginning of the year, and in his interview, which I do, he wanted to be a wedge breaker in my spring meeting card. In fact, I just had a spring meeting last week with a team, and some kids put down what they really want to be on their special teams, and all you want to do is destroy the wedge, and he did a great job with that. And we always ask ourselves, are the best players utilized in each unit? So we really want to make sure we don't have a breakdown. All of our emphasis on pre-practice, we want to make sure that our snappers get snaps and our holders, our punters, when the kids come on the field, we don't want them just to monkey around. We want them to get work on their snaps, punts, holds, and just get a good chance to get maybe 20, 25 snaps, long snaps, PAT snaps, and so I never want to have a breakdown, especially on the snap. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go to a video here, which I'm going to flip to another screen here, and show you a video on first touching. This is something we emphasize, and it's called first touching. A lot of times people don't realize that the first touching is people don't utilize this in part of the game. Now I'm get this to play. I'm having difficulty with this. Here we go. Okay, hope you can see this now. Okay, the team was punting to us, and they touched the punt. They didn't down it, but they just touched it. He thought he downed it. Our kid picked it up, took off with it, and it was a great play for us because the other team didn't realize he had to hold the punt and make sure it was down. And we realized that, and here it is again, and it's just a great situation where the other team touched it, they didn't down it, you know the rules, so if we pick it up, even if we fumble it, we still get that ball. So we picked it up and had a nice, great gain here using the first touching rule that some people don't think about in their game plan. So this is what we tell our kids. If they touch it, it's a free ball, pick it up, and we're still going to get it at that spot, even if you fumble it. So we gained quite a few yards in this play. So that's our first touch, and there's something we emphasize, and we want to make sure that our kids know that all the time too. And sometimes when they come up from the JVs, they don't understand that first touching rule. So we want to make sure we emphasize that. That's something we emphasize, first touching. Special teams goals. First one, we have no kickoffs returned past the 25-yard line. Not onside or sky or squib. We don't count those. We don't want to have any bad snaps on punts, PAT, or field goal. I am adamant on snaps. I mean, our centers know that I do not ever want a bad snap in a game on punt or PAT or field goal. It's just something that's kind of in my craw that I really, really emphasize, and that's why we work so hard on it, and that's why we don't have bad snaps. And I'm just going to knock on wood that we don't have any, keep working on that. We don't want to have any kickoffs or punts returned for a TD, naturally. We want to return all kicks beyond our 30 to give us a decent field position. We are no punt returns. We do not want them to return a punt more than 10 yards. That's one of our special teams goals. None of our punts, PATs, or field goals blocked. We do a pretty good job of this because we see what you emphasize, and it's the little things that we work on, punt snap and the blocking and the gap blocking and things we do. We run 100% PAT success, and we don't get that every week, but we do a pretty good job of that. And here's the hard one to block a punt, PAT, or field goal. But tell you what, you work on it, you succeed, and we do. And then the clips I'll show you today is some of the things we did really well. And we want to return a kickoff or punt for a TD too. That's one of our special teams goals. So those, and the last one here, no turnovers on punt returns or kickoff returns. You know, we're getting the ball, so you certainly don't want to give it to them and give them a sudden change situation, and they get excited and jump all over each other and got the ball and they want to try to score. So we certainly emphasize that too. Here's our stats for punt blocks in the years. I have 8 years up here. In 2002, we had 2, and then we went to Air Force Academy. Look, in 2003, we had 7, and teams picked up a little bit on it, 3, and then 2, and then 2, 2, and 5, and 4. So we do pretty good in the punt block. So that turns the game around. When you block a punt, that's a huge, huge difference. PAT blocks, 3, 4, 3, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3 in the years I have on there. And so we get 2 or 3 a year, and I think it changes the game around. And one clip that I'm going to show you today really is going to show you how that really emphasizes and changes the game around. Practice plan for special teams. Special teams are one of every 6 plays in the game. If you take a look at all your plays, put all your special teams in, and see what percentage, I think you're going to find it's about 1 out of 6. So our practice is scripted to have 1/6 of our practice time for special teams, approximately 25 minutes per practice. Both offense and defensive script team times are incorporated into special team plays within them. So in other words, if we're going to run offense, we run a 40-play offensive script. Certain times during that, I'll yell punt team, and they'll go on the field, and then we'll punt. From our offensive set, okay, it's 4th down now, we're going to call it punt team in. I got the clock on it, 25 seconds, and we're working that right during script when we're going against our scout defense. So it's a regular part of our offensive unit, and we're running offense, because that's what you do in the game. And if you don't get it, you call a punt team in and punt us. So we work on that. We have 11 guys out there on our offense. If we have to call punt team, there might be 4 or 5 guys change, or 6 guys, and they come in, and we got the clock on them, and we run the punt. And I think that's one of the best things we do is run the punt right with our offensive script. So maybe we'll run 6 plays, 7 plays, and I'll run tight punt. And maybe we'll run 8 or 10 more plays, I'll say wide punt. And then we'll have a goal line backed up in our own goal line punt, so a tight punt again. So our kids know what the situation is. Are you backed up? Do we have to block tight? Do we have to fully protect? Or are we going to run our spread formation punt? And that's all we have is this tight punt formation and spread. And we script it right in with our offense. And then the same play when we're doing defense, when the scout team is running the other team's offense, we'll call in punt return or punt block. And that's part of the defensive script. So every day we run about 40 offensive plays, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and we'll script the punt teams in their offense. And on defense, we'll script in the punt return and the punt blocks. So it's a great thing for your practice script, and it's just something that really works. And I'm the guy with the stopwatch because I time it, and I'm going to make sure that we have the right time and the punt, the times that we want to get it off. You must script in your punts and punt blocks in your weekly team offense and defensive periods. I think this is crucial, and it really, really helps us out a lot. We do, like I said, we do tight punt and spread punts and tight and spread punt blocks. So if your team is a spread punt, we have a spread punt block. If your team is a tight situation, tight punt, then we have a punt tight punt block. But we do change those too, as I'll show you later on. We want to try to block the ball at the kick point. About 8 to 9 yards is where you block the point, block point of a punt, with hands and head over the ball. And what we do, we put an orange circle on the ground where that block point is. We'll look at video and we'll say, hey, the kid punts at 15 yards and the block point's 9, or he punts at 13 yards and the block point's 9, or whatever the situation is, that's where the ball is going to be launched. So we want to make sure we put that orange circle on there when we go to block, and that's where the block point is. We want to block the ball with our hands. Rehearse the big plays in special teams. We want those kids to realize when they block that ball, what are they going to do? What's going to happen? Where's the ball going to go? Is it which side of the line of scrimmage? Is it live? Is it dead? Well, they should know it's the live ball, just like the first touching. The kids need to know how that happens in the game. So when it comes in the game, that'll be just natural for them, so they can really work on that. The first drawing I have here is a punt block left, and this is just one that we have. What we're doing is we're putting pressure on the blocking back at the C gap here, and we're bringing pressure there. And then on the left side, we're bringing we're bringing 5 men on those gaps with 4 blockers, and that's specialized blockers. So that's one of the things that we do. So the punt block left is the one, and the next thing I'm going to do is the tight punt here. We're bringing kids off the edge. What we have here on the edge is 2-on-1 on the right side, and then we try to get a 2-on-1 on the left side. And then in the middle, we try to have a and a B gap. So we try to get someone through there, and then one-man returner. So we have a big rush there. Against a tight punt formation, we find a weak player who's going to step. We'll step and open the door, and he'll leave a gap, and then we'll stack that linebacker and bring him in that gap, because he'll step the wrong way, and the center will step right, and he'll step left, and then we'll have a gap. And we'll notice that in the film. And if you watch that, someone's going to have a breakdown sometime. They're stepping the wrong way, or they're trying to block zone or man differently. So you take advantage of that by just watching film. That's one of the things I make a special point of. I'll run that punt over and over and over again so I can see where they have a weakness. There's one guy there. There's one guy you're going to find there who's not going to do the job. And that's the guy you can go after time and time again. This is the punt block spread. Now this is called creep and replace. I got this block from Air Force Academy. When you have a spread punt, we have 2 cover guys on there. My X's in the diagram here. They're out on a wideout. And then what happens, when the cadence starts, they're starting to creep in, and then we're replacing them with a linebacker who's on the internal side there on the right and the left, and he'll come out and jump on that sprint man out there on the edge. What's happening here is the guy on the outside of the blocking back on the right there, he's coming to the outside, and my guy who's creeping in, the X guy on the right, he's coming into that C gap there, and we get a 2-on-1 there. And that's a great punt block, and the people are getting used to what we do this quite a bit, especially against spread teams, and they get used to this. So we got to really be careful. We don't want to show it too early, but you still have to start moving on the cadence because you want to be able to time it up so that X guy can get over into that C gap and get in that block point. We do the same thing on the other side too. So you can see it on this side. It's called creep and replace. So we have to cover those guys naturally, but then we'll creep them in on the cadence, and then we'll bring that backer out and cover that the hatchet man. Sometimes they call him, or sprint man, covering that punt. So we have him covered, and then we'll bring that guy inside. It's a great, great block for us, and we've blocked a lot of punts with it. It's called creep and replace. It's one I picked up from Air Force Academy, and we just love it, and we really work on it. It's a great, great punt. So I'm going to show you some punt blocks now. I'm going to flip to a different screen here, and we're going to go down to another screen here, and the first punt block is against, one of our rival teams here. Here it is right here coming up on the screen. You should be able to see it now. All right, we're going after it from the outside here, and we get a quick block. We get the ball on the 3-yard line. I'm going to try to run this again for you. I don't have slow motion on the here it is again. If you look real carefully on the left here, we got 3 guys on 2, and we get 1 in, and he blocks the punt, and then we get the ball on the 3-yard line. So it's been a really good, and that's just a pressure block with 2-on-1 on the outside there. And that was a big game for us, and that scored another touchdown. One more time here. Here's where the block's going to come from, right over here on the left, right here, and then Forrest coming in off this edge, and he'll block it, and that's a really good change of possession for us. Boy, that really turned things around in that game. All right, I'm going to give you another punt block here. All right, this is kind of a bad snap, but we get the pressure up on the outside, and we get the ball on the 10-yard line. So it's just they know we're putting pressure on in that center. We talked to him a little bit about his snap. Here it is again. We have pressure right here from the outside right, and the snap wasn't that great, but we sure put the pressure on and really made him think about that punt. So we're going after him again. Okay, another punt block, and this is another situation where we've been blocking a lot of punts, and this is a playoff game, and the center is worried, and he snaps it under his legs, and we get the ball down on the 8-yard line again because we have another pressure rush on. I hope the video is coming through good for you. And here it is again. We got a block right here off the edge, and he gets in here, and we get the ball on the 8-yard line. Huge, huge possession on the 8 instead of way back in the midfield. So one more time. Kid's not a very good shortstop either there. So okay, that's another punt block, and I have one more. Now this is tight. We have pressure from the left, and we go after it. We get the ball, and we score a touchdown. If you email me, I can send you this presentation. Hopefully the video clips will come out so you can see how we're doing. We have 10 right here. We're blocking it right here. And then we take it in the end zone. So we like those situations, and that sure changes the game around. What a momentum changer. And that's our big rival, you know, with a game with 5,000 people at the game. This is a rainy night, too, so we certainly want to make sure I know when the weather is in our favor, we want to be able to go after them. Okay, the next thing I'm going to talk about is PAT and field goal block. PAT and field goal block. We work on this too, and I got some good things here. mental readiness. They just scored a touchdown and you got to block the PAT. So a lot of times the mental aspect is so important. I tell our kids that the mental attitude in football is to physical as 4 is to 1. So you want to be able to be ready. You know, your Daubers are down. They just scored. So now you got to block that kick. So it can change the game around. I'm going to show you some clips where the game is completely changed because of the PAT block. You need to know the rules in the field goal block, especially the field goal block, the live ball, which one's live, who can advance it. Make sure the kids know the rules on when the ball's blocked, when it's a dead ball. We know the PAT in high school is dead, but field goals aren't. So our kids need to know that, and it can be returned for a touchdown by the other team if they block here. So they need to know the rules on all field goal blocks and not let the ball just lay there, which we've seen that happen many, many times before. Also, when we run our PAT and field goal block, a lot of times you leave the receivers go, but we got to make sure we assign someone to the receivers for the fake. Now, later on in my presentation, I'm going to show you some great PAT fakes because they failed to cover our receivers. So we got to make sure that we do our job and cover their receivers, because they can run the fake too. The block point is 5 yards in less than 1.2 seconds. I mean, you got to really get in there, so it's really difficult. But most kids can't get it off in 1.2. Set your players on this specialty team because after they score, you need to get ready. All right, this is one that it's a missile, and guess where that came from? Missile from the Air Force Academy. The way I have it drawn up here is I have a 10-man front here, and then the backer in the middle. What a lot of times what I'll do, we'll stack the linebackers on the player in A or B gap. What we're going to do is get a push from our down guards who are right on each side of the center. And we can't hit the center, so we're going to get a push on that A gap blocker, which is the guard, right guard, and left guard, on both gaps there, and we're going to try to push them out. And then we're going to bring our backer from either stacked or away from the outside. And we can bring them away from the outside and creep them in there, or we can stack them. After I do this up, I take a look at the things that we first started doing like this, and then now we'll stack our backer here or here, and then we'll have them run here. And the same thing here. You're going to find a person here who's going to give up that A gap, who's going to give up that B gap, and you can run your missile. We call that missile. It's automatic for us, and have it push that to get that gap opened. I did a presentation in Florida this last February, and I talked to Coach afterwards and said, Coach, we do the same thing, but we use 2 guys on this down guard here. And it started me thinking to get 2 guys to push that hole open and let that A gap so that kid stacked can get in there. It's a great block. If you don't have that, I really strongly recommend it. It's a super, super block. Okay, we're going to go on to some blocks here. I got to change screens here. Take a second. I'm going to go down to the next okay, I can get this switched. Okay, here we go. PAT block. Here's the first one right here. Sorry to delay you here. I had to change. My embedded video is not working real well on the format here for some reason. Here's the first one. Hopefully. Here it is, coming up right now. All right, we got a block coming right here in the middle, and we get a good push and right down the middle. Right down the middle again. 9-6. So I cut that extra point. Here it is again. Here's the block right here. We had a stack right here, and we blocked it in this left side A gap. One more time. All right, here it is. Right here's the stack. We got 2 guys in there to block that. So we like that one. That's for sure. Here's another one. Now this game here was a championship game, and the score, I'll show you the scoreboard in the end. This is a huge game. We got our missile right here in the middle. Watch this cat right here. He's playing Saginaw Valley now. There he is. Look at that. There's our missile. We pushed out here. We broke through, blocked the kick. But here's the clincher here. Look at the scoreboard right now. Right now. 22-21. And we had 22. We blocked that PAT, won the game. One more time. Here's our missile right here. This guy's going to block it. We're pushing here. We're pushing. Push here, push it out. There's a gap, right through a gap, perfect block, exactly how it's drawn up. We stacked that number 5 there, and naturally that put us in a game situation where we won the game 22-21. That won us a championship and a right to go on and play again. So it's a huge turnaround. Here's another PAT block. We got the block right here. I'll run that again for you. I hope it's coming up here because sometimes the embedded video doesn't work too well. Here's the block right there. He doesn't get as good a push as we normally want to, but the big guy who was pushing on the lineman got through and got his hand up, and he made the block. And that was a playoff game. We were quite a ways ahead anyway. So, but it still helps, and it's a morale builder, and it's a big thing for us to do that. And this was the next block I'm going to show you is in the semifinal game against Jackson Newman Christie, who's a powerhouse in Michigan, and we're going to have a block. Here's our missile right here. Again, we got to push it, but the guy in the A gap gets through, and we block the PAT here, and that was a big point in the semifinals, and it was 14-6, so it gave us an 8-point lead, and that made a huge difference, especially in a game and going to the Ford Field to the next round. And this is where our block came right here. I'm going to show you one more time. This is a neutral site in Battle Creek, Michigan. Our down tackle gets through an A gap because we got that big push. Well, that's some PAT blocks which I wanted to show you, and it's just it really makes a huge difference for us, and we just love to work on that missile, and the kids know it, and they just appreciate it to get a chance to work on it, and they really appreciate it when we block that point, and they realize, hey, Coach, you're right about that, and even this kid really did let me through here. All right, punt. The next thing about special teams is punt, and I really emphasize punt because, as you've seen in the video, that punt was a game changer. It's a momentum changer, and it's a sudden change. And I tell you what, we work it in pre-practice and script it every day, and I have emphasized every day there because I tell you what, if you don't work on punt every day, you're going to have a breakdown. It's going to cost you. And we're lucky. We haven't had any punch blocks. So I think in the last 10 years we only had one punt block. So you know why? We work on it. Pre-practice, snaps, punters, snap, holds, everything, all kinds of things. Perfect execution, decision-making, and ball security. Excuse me. And we want a kid who can catch the ball. We want a shortstop there. We want a kid who can field. We want a kid who doesn't just have a great leg, but he can catch the snap. Again, I'm the guy who's with the stopwatch in my hand every time we punt. Every single time in pre-practice, in game, and script, I'm the guy making it. I'm the head coach, so I'm going to make sure it's right. And we really emphasize this. And here's what we want. I know it sounds awful good, but it is. We work on it. We work on it. We work on it. I run a punting camp in June in our state, and it's a great one. We want a great high school snap is 2.0. So the snap would be 0.8, the punch 1.2, and we love a 4.0 to 4.3 hang time. That's what we're striving for. And we work on it, and we work on it, and we work on it. My partner, who's a great kid, who's an all-state kicker this year too. Baseball player, great athlete. He's going to be a Division I player. We don't have very many Division I kids, but he's our quarterback and our punter and our kicker, and he gets that ball up in 2 seconds, and he's just a great punter. You know, one reason is we can work on it. Our basic punt coverage from the spread is just like you guys, everybody runs. They guys stay in their lanes, they go downfield, they stay in their lanes. Our punters are safety, and he's my best athlete anyway on the field. And then we have our 2 sprintmen go to the football. We stay in our lanes, and we don't like to kick it in the middle very often, but we want to kick it to the hash or between the hash and the sideline where we want to kick it directionally. But this just kind of gives you an idea how we cover it and how we fan out to stay in our lanes. And we want to get off our blocks and get to our lane like in kickoff. Punter technique. I think, like I said, the great hands, catch the end of the ball, and the snap should be at the waist. And I try to have our center snap it at the top of that thigh board or right at that waist, and we really work on where that ball and that kid, my punter, catching the ball. So he gets those every day, and he gets those every day. And when it's raining, he still gets them in the rain. So we want to make sure he gets in the rain, snow, sleet, and hail, whatever the case may be. Got to catch the ball, and the kid's got to snap it. We're going to mold the ball. We're not going to do a lot of molding, but we're going to do it so we get the lacing in front so the ball fits perfectly in your hand like you're shaking hands as a right-handed handshake. For your right-handed punter, that is. Hand on the side, thumb on the top right. That's what we teach. Now, some coaches teach underneath. I don't particularly can hold in the ball, under the ball. I've just never been able to teach that, and I've seen that. I don't see how that can work because the ball gets too close to your body. And this is my opinion that the hand's going to be in the side and the thumb on the top right with a little bit of air in the crook of between your thumb and your first finger. The drop is a critical thing in punting. It must be consistent. The elbow must extend it at the hip. The ball should make contact at the opposing knee. So when you drop the ball, when you punt the ball, it's going to be at the opposing knee when you're in your walk. But we want to work on the same drop over and over again. A great drill for the drop is walk on the track and drop the ball on the lines. And never cross over, and the ball should bounce straight up. A great drop, the ball will hit the track, bounce straight up. Hit the track, bounce straight up. I mean, they can get many of those just by themselves. Just going along the line of the track, drop the ball. Drop the ball, come straight up. And work on the drop. Because you've seen it many times before, the balls turn and it goes end over end, and it gets crooked, and it's never a pretty situation. So the drop is, I think, one of the most critical things in punting. So here's what I have. We got the catch, the mold, and the drop. Next page. Steps should be 2 steps. Right, left, and kick. So naturally that's going to be for a right-footed punter. So that's what we teach. Foot to the ball, hit the ball where the laces are located, and depress the toe. So you want to have the toes depressed and that bone right on the top of that foot there. Swing. We want to have the knee to the nose or the right eye, while the shoulders should be over the ball. As our follow through from our leg, knee to the nose, over the right eye, and the shoulders should be over the ball. Because if you twist it, you're going to get shank the punt. We want consistency. We want consistency, consistency, consistency. Now, if we have a punter and he's consistently 35 and he gets a good time, good hang time, that's fine. I don't need a 45-yarder. I mean, it'd be nice to have a 45-yarder every time. But if we get a 35-yard consistent, 37-yard consistent, hey, I'm happy with that. Let's take it. And we'll get that consistency to have that punter. If he can catch the ball and punt it and consistent, he's our punter. We also work on directional punting in practice. We're on the right hash. We like to punt between the numbers and the right sideline. So that's where we try to directional punt. We don't like to try to directional punt across the field, but we do directional punt away from the kid who can catch the ball and fly. So we want to make sure we don't kick it to that guy. And sometimes we're in a situation where I'll say, hey, I'm not taking a chance. The game's too close. don't punt it to that guy. He's going to catch it and fly out of here, so we'll punt it out of bounds. But we'll do that once in a while, but depends on the kids, depends on the situation, field position, the weather, the game, score. I just have to make that decision. I make the decision on punts and fakes and where we're punting, and head coach, he takes the blame for that too, so that's my decision. Here's a punting sequence. This came from the 2005 state championship game. Let me tell you the thing about this kid. He hurt his ankle, so he had to get his ankle spatted up here. So if you look at this sequence of clips here, you can't get the full extension. I'm just going to show you something about a couple things. The drop is where I said the ball is basically level, and it's dropped out of his hands. He just dropped it. He's taking this second step. Now he's going to swing with his punt foot, the kick foot. The only bad thing here, he's a little bit too far back here. If you can see the arrow on the computer screen, hopefully you can see that. He's a little bit too far back in frame number 2. Now, frame number 3, he's not too bad. But he's still got his ankle taped up here, and he's still got his foot is depressed, and it's not too bad. In the last frame, you can see the pretty good leg extension of the leg. The knee is over just about by the right eye here, and the foot's off the ground. He's got a little bit left off the ground from his momentum. And he was a good punter, but he wasn't a great punter, but he was consistent. 35, 37, 38, 35, 37, 38, good hang time. He never had one blocked, never dropped a punt, never dropped a snap. So that's the thing that we really emphasize, and that's what we really can't have a breakdown. Take a look at your records and all the times you punted, how many times you had a block, and then see how much that affected the game. Take a look at that. All right, this is my punter this year. He's my quarterback, and he has got great form. His head's down, his ball, his knee is over the right eye, his foot is extended. He's not quite off the ground here because I don't know if the photographer, but he's my kid. He started punting as a sophomore for me. He played as a junior. Last year, as a sophomore, we were 14-0 state champs. As a junior, we were 6-4, and now he's coming back as a senior. Hopefully, we'll be better than we were last year because that wasn't fun after coming out 14-0. But he's a great young man. He's a great punter. If you don't have a punt team checklist to go over, I'm going to give you one now, and if you get it, fine. Otherwise, email me, and I'll send you a copy of the presentation. Make sure, do you want to punt it out of bounds? Is that runner, a returner back there, a rabbit, and you don't want to let him fly out of there, punt it out of bounds. Do you push punt? Every time we go situational punt, we are maybe on the 42, 45, we're going to pooch it. So it's going to be a high punt. We want to down it inside the 5, 10-yard line. We want to work on a pooch punt. We do that so the kids know what a pooch punt is. What is it? It's a high, short punt we can get down and cover. Danger punt. Hey, if we're backed up, we have a rule. Inside the 10, we are always full protection tight. That's our rule. I don't have to yell spread or punt, spread punt, tight punt. When we're inside the 10, we are in a tight punt mode. We got double tights, double wings, one blocking back, so we are protecting. We are really protected because we don't want to have a turnover in the red zone and they can just put it in real easy. Reaction to block punt. Pass to behind the line of scrimmage, whose ball is it? Make sure they know the rules. Make sure your punt teams know if covering tight or wide. If you're punting and they don't cover your wideouts, you better have a quick call where you can take that ball, flip it out to that wideout who's not covered. And make sure they know the situation when we're punting tight and wide. Fair catch rules, the ball, the hand's got to go across the body. There's no halo rule in high school football, and they need to know the fair catch rules and allow the kid to catch the ball. Downing procedure. And one of my first clips in the thing, in the presentation today, was the first touch it, and the other team touched it, walked away. We picked it up and took off for about a 23-yard gain. They need to know the downing procedure. We tell our kids we punt it, pick the ball up, hold it, till the referee blows the whistle, and hand the ball to them. Never put the ball back in the ground. Always hand the ball to the referee. First class. That's why you want to conduct yourself first class all the way. Downing procedure. Fakes. We have calls. We have a certain word that we use for a call, and I'll just make up a word. We call Chiquita or something like the banana or something like that. That tells the people that I see something that we're going to call a fake, and I'll tell the kids who are going to the punt team we're going to run the banana fake or whatever that is. And we've had a lot of success, a variety of fakes, and especially when you have a good kid back there who's punting the ball, has some feet. It's a great way to fake it. We have the direct snap to the up back as a fake too. And if we have overload on one side, we might want to block the other side. There's an advantage over there where we have 3 against 2 or 4 against 3, where we can block and run a fake, a short yardage, a direct snap, or we run a pass. So we run 3 basic fakes. We run the pass, we run the run fake from the punter, and we run the direct snap. So those are the fakes that we run, and the kids know the word for each one of the fakes, which I think we all need to have in our program. How do you punt in the wind, with the wind? Nose up, nose down. If you put the nose up a little bit, the ball is going to travel. Nose down, the ball is going to drop a little bit against the wind. So those things your punter needs to know. Wet ball, when it's raining, we're going to dry the ball off somewhat, but we're going to work on wet ball snaps a lot and wet ball punts a lot, because we might dry it off just a little bit, like the referee might do it a little bit, but the ball is going to be wet. We're going to work on it. We're not going to be surprised when we come to a game and it rains and we get a wet ball. So we work on those things. So these are the punt team checklists which we go over. Punt team checklist 2, time consideration. Hurry or use all 25 seconds. Scramble and punt. Rugby punt. We don't use a rugby punt at all, but some people do. Ground ball or grouse ball. First of all, the center's going to be very unhappy to hear me to talk to him when he comes up, he throws a ground ball at the punter. But we do want a kid who can feel the ball. How to take a safety. We work on that. Kids need to know how to take a safety if you want to give up the 2 points and get better field position. All right, I'm running short on time. I'm going to go a little bit faster now. Kickoff coverage. I'm working on a new program for this, but what do we look for? We look for speed and determination. Athletes. Assign a safety and containment. You may change position each week so they can't key on your contained guys or safeties. We run deep sky squib and a dink kick. We don't want to be offside. We're 1 yard behind the kick, and we do not want to get offside and have them kick 5 yards further back. Split the double team, stay in the lanes, rip through. When you rip through the block going down the field, this is a key point I got from a Michigan State coach this last winter. All your blockers are going to stay on the same side. So if you're going to come to a blocker and you're going to rip through, all go to the right or all go to the left. So always go back to the same side so you don't create a huge gap where one's ripping to the right, one's ripping to the left, and you create a huge bubble. So you want to get back to your lane and rip through and don't follow your own color. Defeat blocker with your hands. This is a coverage for deep middle, which we don't kick very often, probably never. Onside kick. We have this type of onside kick, and we have also what's called a dink onside kick, where we just punch it 10 yards and the kicker gets on the ball. And this is a sky kickoff, which I'm going to show you, which we used in the playoff game when we got the ball. It was opening kickoff, and it was a sky position. And what happened is we got the ball immediately. Whoops. Well, okay. Now I can't get the video to show up, so I'm going to go to the next category. PAT field goal. 5 linemen, 2 tight end, and 2 blocking backs, holder and kicker. Snap to spot is 7 yards for us. Total time for our PAT field goal is 1.25 seconds. Holder front knee down, back knee up. We don't want to get a knee taken out by the front knee being up. So we want the front knee down and the back knees up. Steps, our kicker usually 2 back and 2 to the side. And have a call fake and a fire call in case you have a bad snap. A fire call is for a bad snap. we have one receiver go one place, one another place, and a back out of the backfield. And we have a fake call. We have automatic call for a fake, and I'm going to show you in a minute. This picture here is the start of a fake. As you can see, we're not going to put the ball down. And then I'm going to show you some fake video. This is the fake. This is the start of our fake, our first game last year. This one is the kick. You can see the kick is ready to go. He's got his foot next to the ball, his plant foot. The snapper got a good snap. We got a good hold. The holder's holding it. We're ready to kick the ball. Now, the best thing that we like to do is we run around the fakes. So we're going to run. I've got 4 videos here on fakes here, which you need to see, which I'm going to show you very last thing. This is the wrong one here. Okay, I got to get out of this window. All right, this is the fake PAT. This is what we're going to fake. We got to call in. We know the direction. All these guys up the edge. We're going to pull it up, fake it, run it, and we got a kid wide open here, but he's just going to run it in. We had 2 guys wide open on that fake. It was a great fake for our PAT, and I'll show you a couple more here. We have some really good ones in here. Here's another fake PAT. There's a lot of having some difficulty with my video here. Try this one. Whoops. For some reason, the video is not showing up again in the fake PAT here. I'll try one more here. Here it is. Okay. They're in red direction. All these guys up the edge. We fake it. We have a receiver there. We have a receiver there. We have a receiver there, and he could run it in. I'm going to show you that one more time. It's a really good fake that we put in. We call it. We see what they're doing. A lot of times we don't fake it to the second TD. Look at all that rush off the edge. He's just standing there. Got a receiver there. Got one there, and got one there. And it's just a good way to get 2 points. So that's our fake, and we love that fake, especially when people are bringing the house and they're not honoring your PAT, and we run that fake and we get 2 points, and we run a lot. The conclusions, men, I'm about wrapping up. It's about 10 o'clock. I got to wrap up conclusions. What's my program? We're based on these things for our priorities. First of all, for me and our program, we're based on our faith and our faith in God first. And then we tell people our family second. Well, after family, we're going to have our academics, but football would be the third thing. And every night before the game goes out, the kids go on the field, we say, have fun. The last thing we tell the kids, have fun, and they better have fun out there. You got to love the kids. If you don't love the kids, you're in the wrong profession. I tell you, I've been coaching now for, this will be my 42nd year. I love the kids. It's great. And what a great fraternity of coaches. This picture here is of Lumen Christie's coach, Herb Brogan, who's got about 260 wins. Great friendship in the fraternity of coaching. Something that I love doing, and I love the fraternity of coaches, and I love the kids. I'll be 64 years old this year, and it's just great doing this. Coaching is a profession that you'll always be second-guessed. You're always going to be criticized, and you can never satisfy everyone. But it's a profession that you can mold young people and influence them into becoming fine young gentlemen. What a thing that we can do, mold young people to make them fine gentlemen and successful in the world today and today's world. What a great chance to impact kids, because you're the person they call coach. And that's a huge, huge word when a kid comes and calls me coach. Tonight before I came in here, I was at a restaurant, and a kid was in there and he coached. I walked out to another restaurant, 2 more kids. Hey, hi, coach. Hi, coach. Wow, that's great to hear that. Those are my priorities, men. And the last thing on my contact information, you can go to our website, oakridgeeaglesfootball.com, take a look at our website, take a look at us. We're not that big and not that giants. We're not giant teams, and we've only had a couple of Division I kids ever in our history of coaching, but we love the kids, and I'm getting a lot of kids play Division II and III, and most importantly, we have a lot of kids who are successful human beings and successful in life. If you want to get a hold of me, here's my school address, my cell phone, my home phone, my email, and website. So if you get a hold of me, I'll be glad to answer any questions. I'd love to talk to you. Some of you will talk to me after the presentation. What a great time tonight. I enjoyed talking football, and take care, and God bless, and I always say go blue, because that's what colors we are. Thanks very much for your attendance and watching this webinar tonight. Appreciate it.
All right, Coach, thanks for that. That was great. All right, Coach, right now I'm going to give control back to us, and so that I can give the so Alan Means can run through a couple of quick messages from our sponsors.
Sure.
But before I do that, I'm going to give instructions to the coaches on how to submit their questions.
Okay.
You can submit your questions in one of two ways. You can either submit them by the questions section of your webinar control panel, or if you have dialed in using your phone, you can click the button that looks like a small hand on the vertical toolbar sticking out from your webinar control panel. That will let me know that you have raised your hand for a question, and that will unmute your phone to allow you to ask a live question to Coach Schugars. Raising your hand will not work unless you are dialed in by telephone using the number indicated in the audio section of your control panel. For those who want to dial in by telephone, click on the Use Telephone Radio button in the audio portion of the control panel, then dial the number shown and enter the access code when prompted. While we pause to allow you to submit your questions or to dial in, I'd like to give it to Alan Means to go through a few messages from our sponsors.
Thanks, Evan, and thanks, Coach Schugars. That was great. You know, we're always honored to have you on these webinars or at our on-site clinics. We got Coach Schugars at a Detroit clinic next year, so that's going to be a real treat if you guys can make it to that clinic. First, I just want to go through some quick announcements, and then I'll let you guys get the questions here. First, I wanted to just talk about the staff season pass and the individual season pass. Guys, it's not too late to purchase the 2010 season pass. It includes Glazier Clinic online, discounts from football vendors. It's only $2.99 for your whole staff and only $99 for an individual. So take advantage of that. You may ask, if this is your first time, you may ask, what is Glazier Clinic online? It has over 200 hours of instructional video, over 700 sets of clinic notes, and a growing database of these archived webinars. And it's exclusive for season pass holders only. Guys, if you're not a season pass holder but want to try it out first, email John Christ at jchrist@glazierclinics.com, and he'll give you a 10-day free trial of Glazier Clinic Online. Just give him your name, school, organization, and state. There's a picture right there of glaziercliniconline.com. As you can see, there's many different categories of video. There's webinars, there's clinic notes, youth stuff. There's everything you ever wanted. Next, also included in the season pass, big discounts from over 25 football vendors. There's a few of them right there, and you can see this complete list at www.glazierclinics.com, and you can see the specific discounts for each vendor on that website as well. Watching these webinars can give you a webinar coaching education credit from either Cal State Monterey Bay or Chapman College. If you're interested in this, just follow these 3 steps. First, go to glazierclinics.com, click on the Live Webinars tab for more information on the program, enroll in the program of your choice, and then request a certificate of completion from the Glazier Clinics for each webinar that you attend. You guys, this is a new slide that we have here. Guys, as you know, championships are won when correct preparation and proper training, discipline, and the desire to achieve a goal come together. For almost 40 years, Rogers Athletic has been providing training and field equipment that has helped coaches and teams, achieve final goals, either winning more games than they did last year or winning championships. whatever goal you may have for your team. These goals that Rogers Athletic has helped provide drill videos, strength training to the newest in field equipment technology. Rogers Athletic can provide you with the tools to compete in the ever-changing game of football. Also, this new tech sled Rogers Athletic has out for 2010. As we know, football has evolved as athletes get bigger, stronger, and faster. In order to train and develop more complex skills, Rogers Athletic has developed the generation of practice equipment. No current product can stimulate the weight, resistance, and natural movement of opponents like the new Rogers Tech Sled. So just give them a call down there. Go to RogersAthletic.com if you're interested in that Tech Sled. Coach's Choice. Visit CoachesChoice.com if you're looking for instructional books and DVDs. There's a lot of guys out there who have made these books and DVDs, and there's a lot of valuable resources out there that Coach's Choice have. They have a full library of instructional DVDs and books. Just check them out at CoachesChoice.com. Coach Com, if you're looking for headsets, video editing systems, those Commando remotes, anything like that, go to CoachCom.com or else dial that number there below. Coach Com provides all our equipment at the Glazier clinics on-site clinics, and they do a great job in everything they do. Also, Coach Com has a special offer of projectors that are used only at the clinics. You can save hundreds of dollars by buying one of these projectors that are used only at the clinics for $495. A full warranty is included, and to purchase this, just call that number below. Ask for a solutions expert and mention that code at the bottom there, and you can get that for $495. JerryCampbellFootball.com, there's a ton of discussion boards out there in high school football, but we think that JerryCampbellFootball.com is one of the best. So be sure to visit Jerry at JerryCampbellFootball.com. You can discuss different schemes, different fundamental drills. Just be able to chat and discuss with some other coaches out there the best drills for your team. So visit Jerry Campbell at JerryCampbellFootball.com. Also, Coach Cobby, I don't know if you've heard Bruce Cobby speak at a Glazier clinic, but he has a coaching system out. Visit cscsystem.com, and there's over 14 different modules. He does webinars, and all that is included in there. If you become a member, you have access to all those, to his whole playbook, all these different modules, and you won't regret it. But yeah, we believe he has one of the best offenses out there. It's sort of a wing T-based offense. Okay, let's see. That's all we got for commercials. Hey, Coach, I'm gonna give it back to Evan and see if we got some questions here.
Okay.
All right, Coach. I'm just gonna give control back to you, quick.
Sure.
All right, it should pop up asking if you want to be the presenter.
Show my screen.
Yep. There you go.
Okay.
All right.
I'm ready.
All right. The first question is, where do you teach the block point?
The block point is usually 8 to 9 yards as a general figure of speech, but I take a look at the video of our punter that we're going to face next week, and we see what type of step punter is, see where they line up, is it 15 yards or 13 yards, and then we watch the video and see where the block point is each week for that player. Usually it's around 8 or 9 yards, but every kid is different because of the alignment of the punter at 15 or 14 or 13, and then how many steps punter is he? Is he a 1-step, 2-step? And then we have to check that out in the video, and we mark it down, and that's where we put our orange dot each week for the opponent we're facing.
All right, Coach. Coach Marcelo, I think it is, asks, in missile PAT block, does the dotted line represent pre-snap movement?
The dotted line, during the presentation I said we first started doing the pre-snap movement, but later on I started stacking the players like a linebacker over the down guard or down tackle, which gives us a better access to the A or B gap, whichever one we're overloading. Most of the time we overload that. We block that guard out and run an A gap, so we'll stack that linebacker on the down guard or the down tackle instead of bringing that dotted line in where we used to do it in the beginning and bringing that player movement. So now we don't move them anymore. We stack them, and it works a lot better as we stack them. It's a direct line. There's not that much movement. It doesn't give it away, and we have much more success running the stack instead of having him move.
Coach, Coach Marcel, are you there?
Yes, I am. Oh.
Okay, go ahead and ask your question.
Oh, no, it's not. No,
That's Coach Schugars. Oh. Coach Marcel, are you there? No, okay. Coach Marcel, if you are listening still, make sure that you dial in on your phone or just send it in to us and we'll read it off. All right. Coach McLean wants to know how you decide about kicking onside. How much is based on momentum of game versus tendency of an opponent? For example, if you've identified a weakness.
Most of the time our onside kicks are based on the front line. If they, especially if we notice they retreat really fast. That's a big thing for us. When they retreat really fast, we'll use the onside, especially we call it the dink onside, where it's just like our full kicking mode, but the kicker only comes up and just taps it. So it goes about 10, 11 yards, and he's the guy that falls on it, especially when they retreat really fast. That is the key for us for onsides. The next thing is the key would be wind, would be another factor, and then the game situation. How much time we have, do we need to get the ball back? And those are the three key components of the onside. But the biggest thing is watching film and see when they retreat real fast. And that's a key, especially when we see that front one or two guys just take off out of there real quick, and that's when we want to onside.
All right, Coach. Coach McLean also wants to know if you can redisplay the punt block left that you showed at the beginning of the presentation.
Punt block left, well, we have creepily replaced the punt block, or we have the wide punt block. Sometimes we'll have 3-on-2 on the D and C gap. So what we'll do is bring a stacked man inside to have the end block down, and then we'll run two guys outside of the blocking back to get a block on the left side. And I'd be more than happy to email that to them, email some of the things I have to them. My email is on the presentation. It's shugs4fb@comcast.net. That's Shugs, S-C-H-U-G-S, number 4, fb@comcast.net. And I can email them some punt block left. But I think for us, the biggest thing is creep and replace against spread punt teams. That's been very, very effective against us, and that's the number one punt block. When we bring those guys off the edge inside, it's an excellent punt block.
All right, Coach. Coach May says, I'm coaching 8-year-olds this fall who will be kicking off for the first time. Considering kickoff coverage on onsides, what is the best way that you have learned to teach getting the ball on the onside kick?
For younger kids kicking, starting out like 8-year-olds, I think the biggest thing is to kick the top white line, where the top white line would go across. That would be that top third of the football. So I would have them work on kicking that top point, and that gets that ball at top spin. And if you get the right spin, it goes bounce, 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 bounce up in the air, and that's when you want to recover it. That's what we teach. If we teach and give away the onside kick when we all lined up on a certain side, and we come across, we still teach that same thing. Kick that top 1/3 of the ball and work on it. And what we want to do is to get it to go 10 yards. We aim at 15. So the angle aiming point is 15, and we kick the top third of the ball. And then if we aim at 15, we should be able to get it, if we have speed on the cover side, to get it between the 10 and the 15-yard distance that the ball is traveled.
All right, Coach. Coach Jones asks, what do you do for scouting and motivation?
Scouting, every week we have at least 2 cameras out. We're allowed to film all our opponents in Michigan, so we bring the cameras in, and when the cameras come back in, we make DVDs for our players. And we have a DVD maker which makes 11 DVDs in about 5 minutes. So we bring our scout tape back, make a DVD, make 11 copies, and the next day or that evening even, the kids can take home a scouting DVD of our next opponent's next 2 games or previous 2 games, and we have a very good knowledge of the opponent by looking at and scouting videotape and be able to give the kids a DVD. I think that's one of the biggest things we've done in scouting, taking DVDs, taking our films, putting on DVDs, and giving it to the kids. I bought a DVD maker which makes 11 copies in about 5 minutes, and I can buzz about, enough for the whole team in 20, 25 minutes. So it's just very useful tool. The kids can watch it on their own time. They can take it. They can watch it with their dad. They can watch it when they have free time. Instead of playing video games, they can watch the game tapes of our opponent and really get a good knowledge of what's going on. Plus what we tell them in our scouting meetings after our coaches watch it. And we meet the next day, we go over our opponent and start putting in our game plan. And Sunday we meet again and we go over and finalize our game plan. We don't bring the kids in on the weekends. We bring kids in for injury treatment if we need medical treatment for them, or kids come in and get videotape, or it's not video anymore, it's DVD, but kids come in and get DVDs. It's a great tool. I think all coaches should have that. If you can have it's about $100 for every copy you buy, a DVD maker. So if you buy a DVD maker that makes 5 copies out of 1, it's about $500. 11 is about $1,100. So what you should do is go online and find out where you can get one. And if you email me, I'll tell you where I got mine. Pretty good price. And so that's a great thing about scouting. Motivation. Every week we try to come up with something a little different. We play in a very tough league, so naturally we have some natural rivals. There's usually two or three teams who are leading the pack of our league, and what happens is I might bring a T-shirt back. This year I'm going to bring a T-shirt back from a team that beat us, because that's all we heard all winter long, the score of the game, 26-20. So our kids are going to have a T-shirt in their locker Monday morning, the week we play that team, with a T-shirt with a score 26-20 on it. Or sometimes we'll dedicate games to individuals. Say, this week we're going to dedicate a game to someone you really love. And a lot of times kids play much better if they're not playing for themselves or playing for someone else. We really emphasize that the more the kids care about each other, the more kids will buy into playing for their very best, because they're playing for someone else and not themselves. And that's a big key. And sometimes the speeches I come up with, last year I had a sledgehammer, and I took it on the bus. I took it to practice every week. I took it, and they never knew what the sledgehammer was until Friday night. And the sledgehammer I brought it in the locker room and says, what are we going to do? We're going to pound this team first quarter, pound this team second quarter, pound this team third quarter. And just took that sledgehammer and pounded it. I didn't break the floor, but I wish I probably could have. But it was a good motivational tool for us. And things like that we use to motivate kids. But, a lot of kids, the rivals we have and the games we play and the competition level that we play, it's that competitive desire that kids have in playing competitive sports. And some of that's just intrinsic. They're born with that competitive desire. And some of it you can have some ideas and some schemes and to help motivate kids. And the biggest thing is that they love the game, and you love the kids. And if they know you love them and really care about the kids, that's huge, because you're in for the kids. And I've been coaching 42 years now, and I'm not going to be a millionaire, but I've had some great kids who are doctors, lawyers, teachers, bankers, pastors. I mean, everything. And that's a success, and that's the real reward you get from these kids who are motivated to be successful in life.
All right, Coach. Coach Vogel is asking, what dates and times are your special team camps this year?
Okay. We have 2 camps coming up this year. The first one is Monday, June 28th at started at 9 o'clock in the morning. That's a lineman camp only. The next day, June 29th, is long snapping, punting, and kicking camp. It's June 29th, and that's a Tuesday, the last Tuesday in June. It's at Oak Ridge High School. It's $60, and we give them a T-shirt and lunch. It's an excellent camp. We have some college coaches, myself, and quite a few outstanding coaches. College coach coached for Miami Dolphins, and he coached for his last job was with Colorado State. So he's one of the coaches, and we do long snapping, punting, and kicking. So if you want to email me or call me or anything you'd like, I'd be glad to send you brochures. Schugars for FB at Comcast.net. It's the last frame on my picture here. I don't know if it's on the screen still or not, but it's right on the screen there. Is it still on the screen? Does this come up on the screen?
Yes, Coach.
It will? Good. Let's try that. There. How's that? There's my cell, my email, and my home phone, and that's where you can get a hold of me, and I'll be glad to send you a camp brochure. Or you can even walk up and come up to the camp personally. That'd be fine. And coaches are free, and they can love to hang around and learn too.
All right, Coach. Coach Callahan asks, do you use a 5-3-3 or a 5-2-2-2 kick return team setup? Also, do you use any special kickoff returns?
I'm just developing some kickoff returns, so we have not been very good at that. So I've been working this winter with some college coaches. But what we're doing now, we run a 5-2-2-2, and we're basically a right or a left or middle return, and we're a man block return or a wedge right or wedge left or wedge middle, and that's all we have. And I'm working on some new things for kickoff return, so we haven't been real good at that, but I'm trying to get better, and that's probably the weakest thing of our whole special teams program. So this winter I made a point to learn about kickoff returns and do a better job in that. Hopefully we don't get the ball kicked to us a lot, except a couple times a game. But we use a 5-2-2-2, and we're basically a wedge team. We've tried counting them in. We've tried different things. We've tried not blocking certain people and only blocking one side. And the best thing we've come up with so far, and talking to coaches, is we're running a wedge, type of wedge return.
All right, Coach. Coach Farley asks, how long do you practice each day? How do you drill kickoff coverage?
Kickoff, okay, how long do I practice each day? We usually go from 3 to 5:30 is our normal at 3:05. And we end up usually around 5:30, 5:45. Depends on the opponent sometimes. It depends how much we're doing. Thursday's pregame is a lot earlier. It's between 4:45 and 5. That's our practice time. That's what we do. And kickoff coverage. What we do, we have some kids lined up with dummies as defenders, and we have like 4 lines of players running down. So what we do is drill and coverage. So we have a kid take it off, and he'll approach the first dummy, and he'll hit him, and he'll rip through to the right, and we'll have all the guys rip to the right so we don't create that big hole. And so we drill with kids holding shields. So we have one set of shields at, say, the 40, and the other set is the 30. And then so we'll go through shields, like 4 shields, and we'll work on squeezing and containing the returner in. And we'll have one ball back there with a returner with the ball, and we'll run him and just make sure we squeeze and break down and squeeze him into where we want to squeeze him, and so he doesn't make a big hole in our coverage lanes. And we squeeze it down and break down and just secure. We don't actually do live tackling, but we just break down and form up. So we have good technique. just work on that coverage and stay in our lanes and always ripping in the same direction.
All right, Coach. Coach Schumann wants to know, how do you kick to the starburst kickoff return?
How do I kick to it? We just we don't see that starburst much, but we do see it once in a while. But we just we kick to it. We stay in our lanes, and we just tackle the guy in our lane. That's what we've been doing. We do see the starburst, which is not very often, but a lot of times we'll just stay in our lanes and find the ball. And this is just kind of it's a very unusual return. And I haven't seen a lot, but I've seen a couple of times, and no one's ever beat us on it because our discipline, stay in the lane, and tackle their man in their area. And pretty soon, a lot of times this ball is given away. Someone finds out that, hey, they see what's going on and they'll make that play. I haven't seen it that much, but I'm sure it's something you need to work on. But I think the biggest thing is stay in your lanes and make that play in the ball carrier who you think has the ball. And that's how I would do it. And the best thing I do is get my kicker to kick in the end zone. I don't have to worry about it.
All right, Coach. Coach Vitale asks, what is your view kicking off on the hash?
I'm glad you asked that question because I forgot to cover that. I was kind of in a hurry on that section. We kick all the time on the hash. We like to kick on the hash between the numbers and the sideline. We always want to do that. I tell you why. It constricts the field, and it constricts the coverage, and it doesn't give the return team that full break in right or left, so we know where that ball is going to be. So we always kick down the hash all the time. We kick right or left hash, depends on the returner. Sometimes our kick is pretty good, so we can put the ball in the middle, and he'll kick between the numbers and the sideline. That's where our ideal spot is kicking, and we work on that. And then if we do put it on the hash, we'll overload the side away from the short side, and we get our coverage and work on that, squeezing and constricting that area between the numbers and the sideline, which is a really good point. I'm glad you asked me that question.
All right, Coach. Coach Harrison asks, do you use a point chart to determine when you go for a two-point conversion fake?
I have it in my pocket every single time. But the biggest reason I go for a fake is when I see the guys rushing so hard. If you looked at the video tonight, it showed, excuse me, that they kept coming off the edge and not putting more than one guy back, and that's the biggest key. The first time we usually kick it. The second time, if they're rushing, we'll go for two. And I don't use a chart. I have it in my pocket, but I tell you what, if they're rushing hard, what that does is it slows the rush, it protects my kicker, protects my holder, and gives us 2 points. That's when we use it.
All right, Coach. Coach Call asks, do you ever borrow soccer players as PAT or field goal kickers, or do you use a full-time football player only?
That's a great question. I think it was 5 years ago, we had a soccer player who kicked for us, and he played soccer for our school, and he kicked for Ferris State University. Well, what happened is the school, some of the girls wanted to be able to play two sports too, like the soccer player and the football player. And some of the girls wanted to play girls soccer and softball, or girls soccer and track. So what happened is, by allowing that soccer player to play football, our school, it opened up a big can of worms. So what happened, our school said, hey, you have to declare one or the other. You cannot play both. But I sure wish our soccer players could kick too, because it was a big advantage for us. We would use them on the day he had games. I mean, we wouldn't use them on the day he had games. We would use them, and just to begin the practice, we'd organize it so he'd kick first and then go to soccer practice. And the soccer coach is very understanding, and if you had a conflict in the two games, naturally he would go to soccer first and football second. and only one conflict. We had 2 games in the same night, so I went to the soccer game, came in the second half of our game. But he was a great kid, kicked for Ferris Division II school in Michigan, and he was a great player and a great young man.
Coach Ware, I'm going to, one sec. Okay. Coach Ware, I'm going to unmute your phone now so you can ask your question. Oh, wait, you just put your hand down now. Okay. Okay, never mind then. Coach Ware sent in his question. He asks, as a new assistant in the high school system, what advice do you have for me going from youth to high school special teams?
Youth to high school special teams? First of all, hang around as much coaches and to learn as much as you can about special teams. Go to the Glazier webinars, find out more about special teams like you're doing tonight. Call a coach at a college and say, hey, I'd like to come in and talk to you about special teams. Call a high school coach who's been very successful on special teams. Say, hey, can I come over and visit you for a couple hours? Go to summer camps. Go to some special team camps. There's a lot of snapper camps, a lot of kicking camps, a lot of punting camps. Go to those places to just kind of envelop yourself and just immerse yourself in special teams. I've always said if you were a young man coming into high school coaching, the thing, if you want to continue in coaching from high school to college, I think the big thing, if you became a good special teams guru, you could really write your ticket. I mean, coaches are clamoring for coaches who can coach special teams. What you do is you read, you study, and just try to get better. And I learn every year. I'm 64 years old. I'm still trying to get better and better. And you always feel like that you're always trying to learn and always trying to learn and always trying to learn. Write me, write other coaches. Say, what can you help me out with this? What can I do for this? What are some drills I could do for this? I'd be glad to do that. Most coaches in the great fraternity we have are willing to share the knowledge they have because it's such a huge fraternity. And we just borrow information from other coaches. And just like I went out to Air Force Academy and got some of their blocks. So that's what you need to do. And the number one thing on the varsity, just be loyal to your head coach. That's huge. Be loyal and do the best job you can, and love the kids and find out as much as you can about it. And tonight you're finding more about it, and I hope I helped you out.
All right, Coach. Coach Johnson asks, when you are running creep and replace, are you using different personnel from the sideline to cover the receiver?
Well, we have a punt return team. You know, we have what I don't like to do. You never know if the team's going to punt or not, okay? So what you need to do is have your personnel out there. When you don't have time to put your return team on, you might just have time to put a returner on maybe. But generally, I try to have my 11 defensive players know if they're going to be in the punt mode to where they're going to cover. So I'll use the same kids on the edge. And usually those kids are my defensive backs, and usually those kids can run. And usually one of the other two are going to be a better blocker because they're a little bit more aggressive. Because when you block the punt, you got to be kind of gutsy to get in there and chance of getting that ball right in the face or somewhere else. So those kids are the same kids every week, and I don't change them. But if someone does a lousy job, or if someone does just kind of stops at the punt, we'll try another defensive back. So we got 4 kids to choose from our defensive backs, and usually we'll get 2 that want to run that creep and replace. Sometimes I just run creep and replace from the short side of the field. Sometimes from the wide side, sometimes from both sides. So you decide how you want to do, but it's a great thing because I tell you why. You're replacing that kid with a linebacker, the linebacker who can probably run, hopefully, and you'll be able to force that kid to the outside. While you're inside, guys can cover the punt. So that was a good question. And I just hope that for me, if the team has a chance to go for it, I won't have time to change personnel, or so I want to keep my defensive team in there, and my defensive backs are usually pretty quick kids anyway.
All right, Coach Nikosi asks, if your opponent is in potential to onside kick, do you switch to a hands team for your front line, or do you keep the same squad all the time?
We have a hands team. No doubt about it. Anytime the game is close, potential for onside kick, or we know the character of the coach, what he does, what his MO is, we have a hands team. There's no doubt about it. My quarterback's out there, my receivers are out there, and we definitely have a hands team for sure. And if you'd like to write me, I can tell you how we set that up. And I didn't have time to do my presentation. I'm working on a new presentation on kick, receive, and kickoff for next year, and that's going to be one of the things I do cover.
All right, Coach. Coach Jones asks, how much time do you spend on special teams during season practice?
Well, like I said, during my scripting time, when we're running, for example, I'll do a kickoff or a kick receive, one of those two every day, maybe a different one, kickoff or kick receive, and then we do field goals every day and PATs, field goals and PATs. Maybe we'll do 5 PATs and 6 to 10 field goals and 2 kickoffs and 2 kickoff receives. One day a kickoff, one day kickoff receive. But the biggest thing, the biggest advantage is putting that punt in your offensive script. So when we're running 40 offensive plays on Tuesday, maybe every 10 plays I'm going to put a punt in. And that is the key, because it's okay, it's 3rd and 8, we didn't get it, we got to go punt. You have punt team spread and put the watch on it, and you go right from there. So we did at least 4 live punts, live situations on the clock 4 times every day for punting. And then punt return, when we go script on punt. When we're on defense, we want to do punt return. We'll script 2 or 3 punt returns or 2 or 3 punt blocks in every day. So like on Monday, we might do kickoffs. We'll always do PAT and field goals. On Tuesday, we'll do, if we did kickoffs on Mondays, we'll do kick return on Tuesday. We'll always do punt return. On Wednesday, we'll do maybe onside, PAT and field goal, and then our punt and punt return in our script. And then on Thursday, it's pregame. We do all special teams first, then we do offense and defense with inserting punts. Time-wise, it depends how long it takes to run it. If we do it right, we can do it snapping in 25 seconds. We can get each play done in 25 seconds. You know, we don't like to waste time in practice. We want to make sure we don't want to wait for the ball to come back. We have 4 or 5 balls. We do PATs. Boom, 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 boom. You know, field goals, right hash, 10-yard line. Boom, boom. We only do 2. Left hash, 10-yard line. Boom, boom, 2. 20-yard line. Boom, boom, 2. So we're moving it. 5 to 7 minutes maybe. So at actual time, kickoff, return, kickoff, just about the same thing, just a couple minutes, and that's it.
All right, Coach. Coach Farley asks, do you substitute personnel for punt, return, or block, or keep defense on the field?
Once in a while, we substitute, we take our quarterback out for punt return because he's a free safety, and we're putting a return man. But normally, we will take the big defensive, for sure if we're going to punt. When we punt, we take our big tackles out. We put in special guys when we're punting. On defense, most of the personnel are going to stay in there because I don't want to be caught changing personnel when you're going to go for it. So the only kid we might change, take our quarterback out from free safety and put a return man in. That would probably be the biggest change on defense for punt return. And then that kid who takes my quarterback spot, he'd be able to play free safety in case they went for it on that 4th down when they broke the huddle.
All right, Coach. Coach Callahan asks, how would you attack the spread punt?
I would use creep and replace. The wideout is covering the sprint man going down. We have the wideout creep in, replace him, and we have that overload off the edge, and we replace him with the linebacker covering the wideout on the spread punt. That's how we attack it. Consistently, we attack it that way. All
right. Coach Vitale asks, do do you use as scouting report?
Do I use scouting reports? What type of scout? A certain kind of scouting report, did you say, or just scouting reports?
Just a scouting report.
We don't give out scouting reports. We give tip sheets out. I used to be the type of guy who would make a 9, 10-page sheet, and I'd find them in the kids' locker under the cleats. I say, hey, I'm not doing this. We make DVDs of our opponent for the kids, and we make a tip sheet. Like when 44 is in the game, they're going to run ISO. When 22 is in the game, he's your punter. We know the punt team is in. Or, you know, when 12, 18, 22, and 24 on the left side is going to be an onside kick. Those are the type of tips we leave out. When there's formations and an offset eye to the right, they're going to run trap to the backside. Those type of things we run as a tip sheet. But the scouting reports we used to give the kids, and all I do is find them in the locker room. They wouldn't take them home, and they'd find them, someone would drop in the parking lot. So we've gone to give them the kids DVDs of our opponent and just a tip sheet, maybe a one-page tip sheet.
All right, Coach. Coach Kinney asks, if you're breaking the wedge or using your wedge breakers, what kind of athletes are you using?
Type of athletes we're using, first of all, the kid is a bowling ball type of kid who can run pretty good and just a built low to the ground, pretty stocky, and he just likes to hit. I mean, he's the kind of kid who just wants to get in there and mix it up. He's kind of like a guard type of individual, and he likes to get in there and just kind of destroy that wedge, and that's what the type of kid that we have had a few years, and against wedge teams, does a pretty good job of doing that. A lot of times on the wedge, when you break up the wedge, sometimes you got to make sure that they don't bounce it to a hole that you might create just behind you. So you got to really make sure that the guy next to the wedge breaker is going to make sure he rips to the same side the wedge breaker is running on, so you don't leave a big bubble in your lane.
All right, Coach. Coach Farley asks, do you practice PAT and PAT block live?
PAT, we block, we block it live, but we never we don't want to hit the kicker or holder, so that's a no-no. So we block it live. Every play do we block it live? No, sometimes we go half, but we do block it live at least once a practice, or at least a couple times a practice we do it live. And the block we do live against our scout team for sure. The defense against our scout PAT for sure is live. And with our scout defense against our first PAT unit, we're a little bit more careful there because we got most of our offenses out there. Our quarterback's a kicker, our running back's a holder. So we're a little bit more careful with that group of kids. We don't want anybody hitting the kicker or the holder, and we blow the whistle awfully fast against our scout team.
All right, Coach. Coach Johnson asks, are you assigning assistant coaches to specific duties on special teams? Or
yes,
assistant
I do.
Coaches responsible for entire special team?
No. Like, say, for example, we go PAT. My line coach is responsible for the tackles and guards. I'm responsible for the center because that's the guy that I want to make sure the ball gets snapped. So I'm the head coach. I'm responsible for the center and the stopwatch. Then we have one of my offensive coaches. He's responsible for the two blocking backs, and my receivers coach is responsible for the two ends, and I'm responsible for the holder and the kicker and the snapper. And that's how we break it down. And then the other coach is making sure the balls get back, so we have 5 balls or 4 balls there. We go boom, 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 so we don't waste time.
All right, Coach, looks like this is our last question for tonight. Coach Snyder asks, do you look at a certain position to place an underclassman on kickoff or return, and do you prefer younger players on kickoff or return?
In Michigan high school level, we have 10th and we rarely have 10th graders on the varsity, so we just have juniors and seniors, and so we don't have very many sophomores on the varsity. When playoffs come, I usually bring up 4 or 5 best kids from the JV team, and those kids a lot of times will get in the playoff games in those positions. Why? They're hungry. They don't play any other positions. They're the best JV players, and that gives them a chance to be in that field and gives some of our first teamers a rest, especially if they're the best quality kids that we're bringing up for the playoffs. We brought them up for a reason, and a lot of times those kids will get in. When we played in the Silverdome in 2000, or not Silverdome anymore, Ford Field in 2008, I think I had 2 sophomores I brought up on the kickoff team because they just ran and they covered the ball really well. So that answers that question, hopefully, and I want to get kids who are going to still do the right thing. And if a kid's a sophomore on the varsity and he can do the right thing and cover and stay in his lanes with speed and always rip the same side as all the blockers are, he might have a good chance to play there.
All right, Coach, looks like a couple more actually snuck in here. Coach Johnson asks, are you using special awards for special team plays?
I don't give out any awards. I'll tell you why. Because if you start giving awards, kids think, oh, I got the award, but what about the game? It's too worried. Kids are, in my opinion, kids are get too worried about the hatchet, the special team sticker, or this sticker, or that sticker. So we do not give out any awards whatsoever. That way, there's only one thing emphasized: the team and the family, the football family and team. The only thing we wear on our helmets is the white eagle. And on the first Friday before the game, as a legend has it, the Eagle Fairy flies in and puts the white eagles on the royal blue helmets. And that's kind of a tradition that I've started. And that's the only thing besides the American flag and our number, that's the only thing we have on the helmets.
All right, Coach. Looks like this might be our last question for tonight. Coach Kinney asks, you talked about kick receive 5-2-2-2. Can you tell me about the type of kids you use in the middle 2 and 2?
The first 5 are the linebacker type kids, kids who can run and block, linebacker type kids. The second 2 kids are the ends who have good hands, catch the onside kick, catch the sky kick, catch that pooch kick. Those are ends. The third group of 2s are running backs who aren't as fast as the other kids, but they have good hands. And then the last 2 are our fastest kids on the team who can run and catch the football in the air. Those are the type of personnel we use in the 5-2-2-2. Good question.